overnight, the U.S. launched another round of airstrikes against Yemen's Houthi rebels who have been attacking cargo ships in the Red Sea in recent months to show support for Hamas. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist is at the White House with more on that. Aaron, good morning.
Laura, good morning. U.S. military officials are calling this strike a follow-on action to the devastating strike we saw on Thursday. Late last night, the U.S. Navy fired missiles at a Houthi radar site in Yemen, and this is according to Central Command. We're still awaiting the assessment on how successful that attack was. This strike just came days after, after American and British forces targeted several locations in Houthi-controlled Yemen with fighter jets and with missiles. The military saying there were more than 60 targets hit with more than 100 precision-guided munitions. We're told they were command and control nodes, munition depots, and air defense radar systems. The National Security Council telling us the aim here was to knock out the Iran-backed militia's ability to launch drones and missiles into the Red Sea. Now, since November 19th, Houthi militants have tried to attack and harass both military and commercial vessels in the Red Sea 28 times. At least once, a Navy helicopter was fired at by rebels in boats before being sank. Now, President Biden said yesterday that he's not looking for war with the Houthis or with Iran, for that matter, but he will respond with allies to stop what he called outrageous behavior.
We've put together a group of nations that are going to say that if they continue to act and behave as they do, we'll respond.
Now, the president there referring to Operation Prosperity Guardian. That's a group of 20 nations now patrolling the Red Sea. The goal is to defend international shipping. Laura?
Aaron, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We now want to bring in retired Admiral James Stavridis, a former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. He's now NBC's Chief International Security and Diplomacy Analyst. Admiral, good morning to you. Nice to see you again, as always. We've now seen these strikes back to back. Just help people understand who might not be following all the ins and outs of this day to day. What was the point?
Three big things. Number one, as Aaron just told us, to actually degrade the physical ability of the Houthis to launch these missiles, kind of blinding the archer, if you will, so those missiles will stop coming inbound at our ships and at global shipping. Point two is deterrence. Say to the Houthis and ultimately to their sponsors in Iran, you better stop now. We have more we can do. So deterrence and a threat of escalation. And third and finally, there's a signal internationally here. 20 nations so far in this coalition. We need to be the leader to help stand together against these threats to global shipping.
Admiral, you talk about the Houthi sponsors in Iran, both financially and in terms of intelligence right now. There is the fear that this is really a proxy war we're witnessing. How concerned should Americans be about the risk that this thing escalates into a much wider war?
I think, unfortunately, Peter, there's perhaps a 1 in 3 chance of escalation. I mean, very broad escalation, U.S. and Iranian warships firing at each other. That's not insignificant. But I think there's a 2 in 3 chance that we avoid that, principally because neither Iran nor the United States, particularly a Biden administration in a political year, are looking for that broader war. So let's hope it stays tactical. The Houthis get the message. Tehran tells them to slow down, back down. I think that's probably how it plays out, better than even chance, but there is risk.
Well, and you also have risk here to the supply chain. Both Volvo and Tesla planning to suspend production overseas in Europe because of this situation. Talk about sort of the real world impacts for people at home.
The biggest thing, Laura, is the fact that major shippers who are hauling oil, cars, parts, toys, everything, they can't go through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. It's a shortcut, if you will, that is now shut down by these Houthis. So these big shipping container ships and tankers, like you're showing, have to go all the way around the bottom of Africa. That adds days to any voyage, weeks, actually. That adds cost. You're going to see it at the gas pump. You're going to see it in consumer goods. Again, one of the last things the Biden team wants to see is a resurgence of inflation. Bottom line here, 15% of the world's shipping passes through these waters. If we allow pirates to close them, you can see that kind of rise in cost.
Admiral, thank you for your time and expertise, as always.